Hi there, and welcome to the Bellevue College Home Energy Assessment event. This event is part of Bellevue College's Earth Week, where we are exploring topics around the theme, The Future is Now, which strives for a just and sustainable future for all. You can see our full schedule of events and recordings of events that are happening this week by visiting Bellevue College .edu/sustainability. My name is Andrew Westenbrook, and I'm from the BC Office of Sustainability. I will be walking you through the background to a home energy assessment and how to do one yourself, and steps to take after you do one. But before we get into things, we pause to acknowledge that Bellevue College resides on the traditional and occupied land of the Coast Salish peoples, past, present, and future. That includes, but is not limited to, Snoqualmie, Suquamish, Duwamish, Nisqually, Tulalip, and Muckleshoot. We honor their connection to the region, pay respect to Coast Salish elders past and present, and stand in solidarity through their struggles with continued systemic oppression. We commit to care for the land and water and center equity at the core of our unlearning. All right, let's get into the home energy assessment. Let me just share my screen here with you. Sorry about that. All right, so this is the Bellevue College Home Energy Assessment Guide. Let's get into it. So today we're going to be covering what a home energy assessment is and why everyone should do one. No matter whether you're living in a house or an apartment or wherever, you can complete a home energy assessment to find ways to reduce energy use in your home and hopefully save some money on energy bills. We're going to go over some basic energy and power knowledge to help better understand what's involved in a home energy assessment. And then we're going to go over how to do one yourself. Oh, excuse me. And we're going to go over how to do one yourself and then steps to take after completing your assessment. What is a home energy assessment? This involves identifying the power and energy using items in your home. Like lamps, refrigerators, things like that. And then you identify energy efficiency measures that you can implement for different things throughout your home that will reduce the amount of power that they use and the amount of energy that they use. It also involves identifying the structural state of your home. So this involves looking at weatherization and other things that either increase or decrease the amount of energy that you use in your home. And then we're going to identify your energy use practices and reduction practices. So why do one? The purpose of an energy audit is not to stop using your everyday items. It's not to stop using your fridge, stop using the lights at your home that you need to do your work or leisure activities, but it's to identify possibilities and ways that you can reduce the amount of energy that you're using while still getting the services that you want. But of course, always turning off lights when you're not using them and things like that does help. The purpose of the energy audit is to understand how many things in your home actually use power and various forms of energy. There's way more than it initially seems like. When I do an energy assessment in my home, I'm always surprised with how many there actually are. It's to identify possible energy efficiency measures to reduce that energy, And then it's to hopefully reduce your energy bills and reduce the amount of pollution that you're personally contributing to. So let's get into a little bit of background for power and energy. Power, which is measured in watts or kilowatts or megawatts, that's the actual electricity that's going from the power station and the power company to your house. What moves along the power lines, or what you might think of as electrons. So there's just the equation for power. It's watts over time. And then it's measured, like I said, in watts or kilowatts or megawatts. So each of these levels increases by scale of 1,000. So there's 1,000 watts in a kilowatt, and there's 1,000 kilowatts in a megawatt. And then energy, which is measured in kilowatt hours or watt hours or megawatt hours, it's using a specific amount of power. So say a kilowatt for a specific amount of time. So the equation for energy is power times the amount of time. So down here we have a couple examples of power and energy, and that might help kind of clarify the difference between the two. So you have 1 kilowatt hour, and that's equal to using 1 kilowatt for 1 hour. But you can also use 1 kilowatt of energy by using 2 kilowatts of power for the shorter half-hour amount of time. So, you can get the same amount of energy use through using different amounts of power for different amounts of time. So there's a couple more forms of energy. The most important here are gas and water. So many homes use things like gas-powered ovens and stoves or gas-powered water heaters. So gas, it's measured in therms, and that moves along the gas lines, or it's stored in a gas tank at your house. This is a little, kind of technical. You don't really need to pay attention to that. But basically, like I said, all you need to know is gas is measured in therms. That's what comes on your gas bill. And this is just how the power company converts it. And then water, you might think water's not energy, but it's important because to heat it, we need energy. It absorbs heat energy, and we use it all the time, to wash dishes, take showers, things like that. So, water can be heated through electricity or gas. There's other ways you can heat water. There's solar water heating. So if you have something like that installed, you don't have to necessarily have a ongoing bill for that, but just something to think about. Just to kind of get a better idea of these things, I have an example of a energy bill. This one's an example from PSE. So let's start with electricity. Your power bill is measured in kilowatt hours. So over here you can see on this bill, it measures 1,050 kilowatt hours for the month. So usually, it's like a 30 or 31 day timeline for energy bills, and that's whatever's in that 30 days is what you get charged for. Something that's good to know for your energy bill is that it becomes more expensive the more that you use. So over on the left here, it shows tier 1 and tier 2. So if you're below 600 kilowatt hours of use for the month, then you are charged, let's call it 9 cents for each kilowatt hour that you use. But once you go above that 600 kilowatt hours, each additional kilowatt hour is then it then costs 11 cents. So, this is one reason why we want to do energy assessments. It's to help lower energy use and help us pay less. Another thing to note is you can often do green power programs. Down here it says there's a green power purchase. If you want to contribute to something like that, it's a way to opt into green power. This often includes, things like solar or wind. It's just a way to self-contribute to the expansion of renewable and green power into the energy grid. Here we're just continuing with another energy bill, but it's the gas bill this time. Like I mentioned before, it's measured in therms. Oops, excuse me. It's measured in therms rather than kilowatt hours for electricity. And like before, energy becomes more expensive the more you use it, so we want to try to reduce that. And for gas, there's kind of a similar thing. It's called a carbon offset program. It's kind of like the green program for the electricity. Okay, so now we're going to get into how you can reduce your energy use with the same products. And the way we do that is through energy efficiency. So that's getting the same desired results, so using a light bulb for the same amount of time, getting the same brightness of a light bulb, but using less energy in that process. So how do we do that? So we're going to go back to the equations that I had before. So energy is power times time. But if we want to reduce energy but keep the time that we use that product the same, that means we have to reduce the power that that device requires. So down here is an example. So before we're using 2 kilowatt hours, and we do that by having a product, say a light bulb, that uses 2 kilowatts for 1 hour. And what the energy efficiency measure here is using a light bulb that just requires 1 kilowatt hour. So by making that switch, we can reduce our energy usage from 2 kilowatt hours down to 1 kilowatt hour by using a light bulb that uses only 1 kilowatt, but using it for the same amount of time. So, now we're going to look at what in your home requires power. And basically anything electric, and that goes from lights to electronics, appliances, batteries, like in your phone, kind of anything. There's a lot more than you might initially think, and they're very prevalent in our life today. And just here are some examples of ones that you might find in your own home. Here I just have a picture of some that I took from my house, and we're going to get into a little bit of a difference between powered and energy things. So wires, so think of like the power lines. Wires and cables directly provide power to your devices. So, you plug in your TV, you plug in your appliances, you plug in your lamps, and they directly take power from the energy grid. And then on the other hand, there's batteries and energy storage systems. So think of things like a portable charger, other types of batteries. Your phones have a battery in them, so you can plug them in and take power directly from the grid, but they also have a battery so you can be mobile with them. There's things like TV controllers, or it even gets into things, so think gas this time, there's lighters. So they have a gas container in them. It's basically like a gas battery. so that you can access that gas whenever you want and use the lighter. Here we're going to get into some energy efficiency measures examples that you can do. So a more and more common one these days is heat pump technology for water and space heating. Basically, it's just more efficient than previous types of heating, and it reduces the energy use. It takes advantage of the temperature of the environment to reduce the amount of energy it requires to heat and cool things. And then there's things like low flow or smart flow faucets and shower heads. This gray tube looking thing, that's a low flow faucet attachment. Basically, it's also known as an aerator. It basically puts air into the water so that you use less of it when you're, say, washing your hands. There's also Energy Star certified electronics and appliances. That's what this blue square is up here. You'll see the Energy Star sticker on things like your fridge or your laptop. My laptop has a Energy Star sticker on it. But basically it just signifies that that device or appliance requires less power to perform the same tasks and just be on. There's things like LED light bulbs. So these are just more efficient than old incandescent light bulbs. And then there's things like double and triple pane windows. This gets into the structure of your home. And what these do is they just make it harder for heat transfer to go between the inside and outside of your home. So these windows, they often have gas in between each pane of the window that allow little heat transfer to get through. So, you know, the more panes you have, the better they are at keeping the difference between the inside and outside. Here's just some examples of light bulbs. So here on the top right light bulbs, they're LED light bulbs. And on the left of the package, you can see it says 60-watt replacement, uses only 9.5 watts. So what that's saying is you can use these light bulbs that only use 9.5 watts to power on to replace an old, probably an incandescent light bulb that required 60 watts to do the exact same thing. So, you know, if you use this light bulb for an hour, you only use 9.5 watt hours instead of 60 watt hours. And then the light bulbs on the bottom left here are compact fluorescent light bulbs, or CFLs. And, you know, they're doing the same thing. These ones only require 13 watts instead of the 60 watts. All right, so what do? It's time for you to complete your home energy assessment. And to do that, we have a couple of sheets that you can work through to, you know, go through your home and figure out what you have. The first one is the home energy assessment score sheet. And this will help you walk through your home and identify the different things in your house, so you can get a, you know, good base level of what you have, and then figure out you know, where you can go from there. And then there's also the home energy assessment data sheet. This just helps you write down the different data that you find. So let me show you those really quick here. So the first one here, oops. Let me get this open. All right, so this is the home energy assessment score sheet. You know, like I said, this just helps you walk through your home to identify what there is. So we'll go through it here quickly. The first one is it talks about insulation. So, you know, if you have an attic, garage, or crawl space, is there insulation up there? Insulation, kind of like the windows, it helps keep the cold outside and the warm inside. It reduces heat transfer there. So next is the air conditioning units and heating furnaces. They have filters on them, and like any filter, those can get dirty, and when they get dirty, they become less efficient, so it's good to change those out. And then so for all of these, as you go through it, there's yes or no or time periods and things like that. Mark the ones that you have, and then that's associated with a point system, and we'll add that up at the end. The third one is weatherization for your home. So this is the structure of your home. So weatherization prevents leaks in your home. So think about if like there's a gap underneath one of your doors that creates a draft. Drafts, you know, make heat escape and cause you to heat up more. So you can go around and notate that. Yeah, here's more weather stripping. That's the same thing that I was just saying. For 5, you're going to look at, you know, what do you usually set your thermostat to? It determines when your heater kicks on or your air conditioner turns on, and that'll contribute to your energy usage. 6 looks a little bit at your energy use behavior. So, you know, when you're cold, do you put on a sweater or do you turn on your heater? The next ones get into the Energy Star system that I previously mentioned. So you'll go around your home and look at your appliances and different things to see which of them have the Energy Star certification. 8 just continues looking at that, see what other appliances you have that might have them. 9 gets into cooking. You know, when you're boiling a pot of water, it's more energy efficient to keep a lid on it so that the heat is trapped inside there and heats up your water more quickly. 10 looks at shower usage. Like I previously said, water requires energy to heat up. So the longer your showers are, the more energy is required there. 11 looks at light bulbs in your house. So you can go around and count the different types of light bulbs. Light bulbs will say what kind they are, you know, LED or CFL or incandescent. You know, if it doesn't say anything, it's probably an older incandescent one. Newer ones, you know, they'll say if they have, if they're LED or whatnot, and then they will also say the wattage of them, so you can figure that out. For 12, you're gonna go around and look at what's plugged in and what's not plugged in, and if they are plugged in when you're not using them or not using them. You know, you can turn off the power on your TV and other things, but even though they're off, they often have parts of them that are still using power, and then as a result, they're using energy. You know, there might be a, you know, like a power off light, or just some like background systems are running. So there's a lot of things that use energy even when they're off. Next, we're going to look at you know, clothing and washing that. It's more efficient to wash all your clothes in a full washer, you know, to use less water per clothing item that gets washed and less energy there. And then after you wash your clothes, you have to dry them. So do you use a dryer? Do you hang dry your clothes? You know, if you can just hang dry your clothes, you don't use any energy. So you look at that. There's things like, you know, just tumble dry on low heat setting that uses less energy as well. For 15, you're going to look at your dishwasher, if you have one. Do you run it when it's mostly full or full, or do you hand wash your dishes? There's different energy usages associated with each of those. And then for the last one, 16, you're going to look at the other like flow rates of water using items like faucets and showers and toilets. So for this, that's measured in like gallons per minute. And what you're going to do is go around and look to see what those are. Some of these on them, directly on them, they'll have the GPM listed. But if not, just try to find the like brand of whatever those are. Usually brands will put their name on their products, and then you can just do a quick Google search and try to find what your products are. Okay, so then once you go around your house and tally up everything, you're gonna come down here and do your score sheet, and then kind of based on the range you can get an idea of how energy efficient your home is, and if you're kind of above 60 points, that's great. Your house is doing awesome. 30 to 60, you have some energy efficiency measures, but there might be some more that you can do. Or if you're 0 to 30, that just means you have a lot of opportunities to implement energy efficiency measures, and that's awesome. All right, so, and then now I'm just going to show you the home energy assessment data sheet that I mentioned before. And this is just made to help you get, like a quantity of things in your house. So a good example for that is you can count the amount of light bulbs that you have in your home and the power that they use and the type that they are, so if your home actually has a bunch of older incandescent light bulbs, you can write down how many you have and the wattages that they use. And that way, if you want to replace them with more energy efficient light bulbs, you know exactly how many to get. All right, let's just come back to the presentation here. So here are just some tips for completing your energy assessment. Something that I found super helpful is to just take pictures of the things that you're looking at around your house. So a good example is take a picture of the light bulbs that you might want to replace. So that way, if you're at a store and you're wanting to replace them, you can make sure that either the fitting on them is correct, or you can get a reminder of the wattages that are on them so that you can get a replacement that uses less power. And then another good one that I found is, just do one at a time. Start with one type of product. So just look at your light bulbs, or start with one room. The home energy assessment, it doesn't need to be all completed in one day. It's definitely a journey. I've been doing mine for a while, and you can gradually incorporate it into your home and your life, and, have fun with it. Okay, so next steps, go out and complete your energy assessment. Have fun with it, and work on identifying potential energy efficiency measures that you can implement into your home, and then implement it. And of course, have fun with it. You don't have to switch everything at once. There's no need to do that. But try switch on a light bulb and see how that goes. And then finally here, I just wanted to share some resources. PSE has some great resources. There's rebates that you can get for switching to energy efficient products. So, you can save money while doing it. And then they also just have other really great resources, and other background information on some of the things that we talked about today. All right, and so that's just the last slide for today. So I'll leave this slide up. So if you just want to take a picture of it or something, you have time to do that. But thanks for watching this home energy assessment event. It's part of Bellevue College's Earth Week. If you want to find more about the other events and see recordings when they're up, please go to bellevuecollege.edu/sustainability. Now go out and do your home energy assessment.